Sir, thanks for joining us today on Leadership Log, which is a podcast on topics of interest to the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center community. And today's topic of interest is pitch days in the RSO. So, sir, if you could introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a little bit about your career background.
Yeah, my name is Rob Hogle, call sign Dirty. I came from the flight test community. So my background started in automotive, working drive shafts and axles. I was a high-speed test driver and learned a lot about the reliability and maintainability process from the supplier side. The Air Force recruited me through the PAL Supplier program to go out to Edwards and work on the RQ-4 Global Hawk, the airborne laser, the C-130 AMP, back before it got canceled. So that's how I started my career. I went on under the PAC program to get my master's degree in aerospace engineering from UC San Diego. And that brought me into the rest of the flight sciences career field. So I became a propulsion integration flight test engineer, discipline engineer under the propulsion area, and went and worked the C5M program, where we did a reliability enhancement and re-engineering program. So that's where I started. I was able to graduate to be a lead flight test engineer, and then came back to Edwards and worked the F-22 program. So worked that program for a number of years, went through a number of key stages in the development of that as it transitioned to the government after IOC. So after that, I was recruited by Air Force Research Lab, the Systems Technology Office, and I went and was a science and technology manager for 3 years. And then I moved over to the program offices under AFLCMC, and I worked special warfare as the lead engineer for the special warfare assault kit using ATAC and turning Samsung COTS devices back into phones from the computers that they were. So we worked with the NSA and got some certifications to be able to go and turn back on LTE, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and near field communications, which enabled a lot of sensors to be added to the body worn kit for the special ops community. From there, I was offered the position of tech scout at the RSO as it stood up. So that's the Rapid Sustainment Office, a newly stood up PEO. And I'm also dual hatted as the chief engineer for the innovation integration team. And so we've been utilizing the SIBR process a lot to be able to get new tech in our pipeline, and then focusing on transitioning over to other teams onto DLA, GSA, and out to program offices.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit about the RSO. What does your work there entail, and what kind of drives the RSO?
Right. So the RSO was stood up by the Secretary of the Air Force to focus on reducing sustainment costs and increasing mission capability rates. In doing that, we're set up a little bit differently. We're set up like the Rapid Capabilities Office, where we've got a board of directors, where there are 5 members, and they help us scope our levels of effort each year. So we've got the SAE, which is Ms. Costello, acting right now. It was Dr. Roper when we were stood up. Air Force Material Command Commander, General Bunch. And then we've got the AFSC, Air Force Sustainment Center, with General Kirkland. The AFLCMC Commander, General Morris, and then the half A4, General Barry. And so those are lieutenant generals. All 3 are our main bodies of effort. And then the co-chairs are the 4-star and the SAE. So from there, half A4 goes out and requests problem statements from the field. And these problem statements come back with SPO support, system program office support, and users out in the field. So MAGCOMs, major commands, to identify a problem that's out in the field. And then we lump those into ability to statements. So the board of directors focuses us on 6 tech focus areas at this time.
Mhm.
And then we are directed to go fill in capability opportunities through ability to statements.
And so those focus statements, that's going to help you find solutions that the field is already looking for, so that you can kind of quickly get something that delivers results, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So as opposed to so we've been through this pitch day process multiple times. I think I'm on number 6 now, because I was on the original with Dr. Roper when I worked in WI, the special ops side. So with problem statements and known users, we can much easier have a much easier time transitioning technology to the field and getting that design thinking feedback to be able to do true agile development of a product, because we have the companies go out and build a product, then they have real-time feedback from the users through demonstrations. They go back, iterate, come back out with another demonstration, and we determine whether or not it's a minimally viable product, which we could leave in the field at the risk of acceptance of the commander.
Okay. So your main role then is to find the companies that can produce and deliver these solutions, and you use these pitch days as an important way to try and find those, correct?
Exactly. So as we're a startup, the RSO has a limited budget, and so because we knew about the SBIR process and we've been through it several times, we decided that we were going to really enhance the SBIR process and mature technology to a point where we could transition it. And so that's the other part of the RSOs. We're not focused on weapon system specific problems. We're interested in like fighter problems or bomber problems or tanker problems, and scaling if something works across the Air Force.
Right. So it's something that's got more of an enterprise perspective to it.
Right. Yeah. So we were stood up to be able to mature technology that could have enterprise-wide applicability and really tackle that 70% of the budget opportunity with sustainment solutions.
Okay. Now you've mentioned SBIR a couple of times, and if you could just give a kind of a broad overview of what that is.
The small business innovative research opportunities are spawned out of AFWorks, which leverages the Small Business Association to allow us to use research funding that is allocated to each service in a meaningful way. So we have companies can register as small businesses through the Small Business Association website, and then go on to the AFWorks SBIR Sitter site and directly propose to problems that the Air Force has.
Okay. So, and it's all about finding those unique, innovative, probably new, probably small companies that have these solutions that otherwise we might not hear about.
Yes. So the goal for us is to go find some, as opposed to AFRL's approach, which is go mature some technology. We try to find stuff that's utilized out in industry, common off-the-shelf equipment or government off-the-shelf equipment that we can adapt to military use. And this lowers the technology readiness level because it's being applied in a different environment, and then we build it back up. So our goal is to use technology readiness level 5 and above in a first apply stage with the user to get real-time feedback and develop products faster that are already developed and being utilized in the commercial industry.
Okay. Now, the RSO recently had a pitch day for companies that were vying to move into phase 2 of the SIVR process that you were just explaining. Tell us a little bit about that event.
Okay. So the RSO had a pitch day on the 7th and 8th of July, where we invited 18 companies to come and give us a verbal proposal that complemented their written proposal that we sent out a request for proposal on. These were based on 23 companies that we were working with under a phase 1 award, which we awarded 3 months prior.
So is the process different for RSO SIVRs as it is for other organizations, or?
So the RSO leverages the AFWorks CSO open calls, and we put in our own tailored problem list and ability twos and tech focus areas and the guidance of the Secretary of the Air Force to be able to allow people to propose directly to us utilizing that contract mechanism that the AFWorks runs. So it's the same exact process as submitting to any of the other AFWorks RFPs, but they're tailored per topic call. So if you're proposing to an RSO topic call, it'll be specific to the focus areas that we're utilizing. And so we have our own selection and we utilize the same tool set and all of the same documentation that AFWorks is using in any of those calls.
Now, you said that you're looking for solutions that have more of an enterprise-wide perspective. What are some of the problems that you're looking to solve? And then from that, what are some of the types of companies that you look to?
Okay. So we have some ability to statements that we're trying to get after. So like one area that's coming to fruition are mobile shelters to be able to do repairs in rapid manners in austere environments. So something that is not MILCON, something that is more an equipment item that can be procured at a lower cost and go meet the demands of maintenance and ops in airfields that aren't set up like our traditional hangars, but require the air conditioning, require the support equipment, the power, but just in a much smaller confined space.
Okay, so you're talking like like a prefabricated kind of building structure or something like that.
Right. So right now, a lot of the services are using connexes, so shipping containers. The challenge with the shipping containers is that they're heavy and they're prefabricated, so they're already in their size, and so it limits how many you can get into an area based on how many you can load onto an aircraft. So what we're trying to go after is different size structures that give you that same capability, but at a lower weight cost and can give you some added benefits that those structures just can't give you at this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fascinating stuff. So what are some other things that you're looking at?
Well, and to complement that, we've got an advanced manufacturing program office inside the RSO, and so we look to bridge some of these things together in later years, where we could take a ruggedized additive manufacturing cell and load it into one of these shelters that gives it the conditioned space that it needs, because the additive machines are temperature sensitive, and they need to have clean power and all of those other attributes that you just don't get in typical austere environments today.
And so then that would be the capability, units in the field would be able to produce equipment, parts, things like that on site as they need, which reduces their logistics train and all of that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So we've been recently talking with some organizations that have higher thresholds for risk, where we can start incorporating some of these 3D machined components. Right now, the challenge with 3D printing components is we're struggling with the airworthiness aspect, and so we're shifting a little bit to possibly go off and do molds that you can then fabricate in traditional methods, and be able to prototype quicker and do fit checks quicker, to be able to ensure that you're not wasting all the time of building up some equipment to be able to mass produce those.
Mm-hmm. So if companies are interested, or they think they might have an idea with Merit, where can they find out what types of problems you guys are looking to solve, and how can they get in contact with the RSO?
All right. So we've got a public facing website at AFRSO, so Air Force Rapid Sustainment Office.com. And we're fairly open about what we're going after. We have quarterly reports. We have some data behind us in our About Us that shows you the mission of the RSO, where we're trying to transform the operations and sustainment enterprise that's vital to the world's most advanced Air Force.
Mm-hmm. And so if they have any questions or anything, they can reach out to you and just kind of dialogue to flesh out an idea.
That's right. We're in the process right now of enhancing our leads process so that we can better communicate with people that are trying to reach out to us. And that's going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks, where we're going to be sending out surveys to people who have contacted us before and ask them for some key information to be able to tell us what they're interested in and marry that up with the right groups, so that we can reach back out to you and add you to our lists when we have something that's pertinent to your specific technology, or if you're a customer. And our customers we see as our Air Force Sustainment Centers and our brethren in the other PEOs, so the program offices. So you can go to our website in short time and fill out who you are and how you want to interact with us.
Yeah, that's a smart idea to get that feedback, so that you can kind of really strengthen that communication resource between you and these companies, especially companies that have never worked with the Air Force before. We do have our own language or our own kind of way of doing things that makes perfect sense to us, but doesn't always make perfect sense to the rest of industry.
That's absolutely correct. We have our own acronym soup that we call it.
Right. So, sir, we're just about to the end of our time, but before we close, I just wanted to see, is there anything that we've left out or anything that you'd like to kind of reiterate?
Yeah, so the RSO is partnering with innovative and talented companies to develop revolutionary sustainment and maintenance technologies to further enhance our mission. So we're really interested in anyone that's got a great idea that could solve some of our problems in sustainment that we may not even know about. So if you're an innovative company that's got something that's out being utilized right now, and you think it has military applicability, so you could be working in the oil fields, you could be working in some of these green technologies, we're interested in working with you to enhance our capability to be able to do humanitarian aid, disaster recovery, and any warfighting capabilities that we're tasked with.
All right, sir, really appreciate your time today on Leadership Log. Thanks very much for explaining how the RSO pitch days work.
Excellent. Well, thank you for having me. It was a privilege.